You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
All the topics from both sides of the border, important or not, with nothing held back. Canadian and American, two-faced news.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, and welcome to the Two-Faced Evening News with CJ and the Bird. And our special guest tonight is Roger Belt, who is joining us this evening. And he's live with us from the Paranormal King radio station. And Roger, how are you this evening?
I'm doing just fine, doing fine. How's everybody doing?
Well, I'm doing good here on my end, trying to get the birds to bed. So if you hear a little bit of squawking in the background, bear with us. Eventually they will go to sleep.
I'm doing fantastic over here. Roger, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad you're doing good, CJ, and Big Bird, and Bill W. I'm not sure who Bill W. is, but hello.
Yes, and welcome to our show, Bill W. Glad to have you aboard. It's nice to see we're getting some new kids on the block.
Okay, well, let's get into this, Roger. I understand there's a rumor around here that you head up a paranormal group. Is this true?
Yes, it's Half Past Dead Paranormal Investigations. We're out of West Tennessee.
And how long has your group been together?
Well, three of us has been together for about 2.5 years. We've just recently added 4 new people. Of course, you know who Dusty is. Dusty's our team founder, Dusty Ward, and I'm the co-founder, and Tricia Payton's been with us the longest. Her sister just joined us. Her name is Pamela. And we have Gabriel Knight. I'm sure anybody that's been on Facebook knows who Gabe is. We added a new girl. Her name is Tasha. And so we're going to see how all that works, because as of yet, we've added all these people, and everybody hasn't met yet. I almost left out Tom Hunt. He's one of the new ones that's joined us, which we've met with him and talked with him.
Okay,
Pamela and Tasha, we haven't.
Have you guys actually investigated together yet, or are the new members really?
As the group is now, no, we haven't. We've just added these people recently, and we haven't had anything to come up yet to get everybody all together on. So, I also host the radio show on Paranormal called Half Past Dead Paranormal Roundtable, which airs at 8 o'clock Eastern on Monday nights.
Yeah, I'm usually in the chat room, and I know Bird is.
That's right.
Well, Bird, go ahead. You jump in there anytime you want.
So, how many calls would you say you would get in a month from people looking for investigators with something that may be a little bit paranormal in their home?
It really depends, because we are smack dab in the middle of the Bible Belt, and everybody is kind of hush-hush. So when we get calls, it's not like just one after the other. A lot of people are scared because, they don't want to go into church and have the preacher bring them up in front of the whole congregation. Well, I heard Sister so-and-so had a paranormal group at their house,
Yeah.
Dealing with the devil, yeah, that's it.
Exactly, and when you get to the Bible Belt thing, it's all about the devil. It cannot be an entity of a soul that's stuck or left behind. It's got to be a demon or the devil. So people are really hush hush around here. We do get calls, but they're not as frequent as you would think. Now, we have gotten some calls that are like too far away to go to. And in that case, we will turn that over to a team in that area that we know. So it all kind of works out.
And what is the furthest call you have received?
We had, and it's not really that far in the scheme of things, but it kind of is. For us, it is. We had a call from Smyrna, Tennessee, which is up the other side of Nashville, between Knoxville and Nashville, out in there somewhere. And, that's like about a 4-hour drive. So, it's not always feasible to get everybody together to do something like that. So, in that case,
and when the Bible Belt people call you to do an investigation, how secretive do you have to be?
Well, we really don't, because the way I look at it, unless they, and it's going to be hard to bring a team in somewhere, because they're going to be in more than one vehicle. So, you can't just come over like your family visiting in one vehicle and get people out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you really just, if they're not ashamed to call you, then, they're not ashamed for you to show up. That's kind of the way I look at it. And we have had people call and then change their mind because of where they are located, and they really have stuff going on, but they're ashamed to, I guess they don't want a bunch of people showing up, getting a bunch of gear out, and their neighbors see. So, I have people that's called and they change their mind because of that. And if they can deal with it, that's all good. But if it's really bad, you think that eventually they're going to have somebody come and try to help. So really,
it all depends, right? It all depends on how serious it is. I mean, if they're really serious, I think that they would sneak you in there at night if they had to.
Exactly, and that's right. There's always a certain amount of confidentiality associated with them. And you try to keep everything low key, especially around here, but there's only so much that you can do to keep everything,
And any of these people that have contacted you, say in the Bible Belt, have any of them first went to their priest, or
some
do they go to you?
Some will. It depends on how bad it is. And, there has been situations where a team gets called in and they will say, well, look, you've got something demonic here. We're not equipped to handle this, but we can get you somebody in here that can. And that's the name of the game, to help the people. If you can't deal with what they have, you reassure them and you get them somebody that can deal with their particular situation.
Okay, I have a question. How do you figure out what is a demonic versus a spirit haunting? What's the difference?
In a lot of cases where you have a demonic presence, you will have like a sulfur smell or like, just really nasty smell. You kind of pretty much know then that you're not dealing with an ordinary entity. And there's situations where, and this doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen, where you will have an angry spirit that will try to pass itself off as a demon in order to put more fear into people. Like I said, it doesn't happen a whole lot, but it does happen.
Have you witnessed any, like, from the demonic side, have you witnessed any personal attacks? Like, you see all these things on TV about scratches and somebody
Right.
get hit, that kind of thing?
No, I have not. But our founder was thrown 15 feet out of a door into the front yard by something that was not a normal spirit.
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing. Yeah.
But now I gotta give him credit. He had a parachute could haul on a flat car because he got up, went back, and shut the door. But yeah.
And what became of that?
Well, he couldn't get anybody to go back in the house, so I guess and it wasn't a residence people lived in; it was an empty residence. But it was like an older empty house that they were just basically going in there to have something to do to keep trained to be sharp. You know what I mean? Where you just there's different ways you can train to where you stay on your toes, and that was one of the particular things that they did. And that was before I was with them at the time. It was him and his nephew, his ex-wife, and somebody else. I don't remember who he said it was, but he said they all ran out to the car and they're like, "Come on in." He said, "Well, I got to go shut the door." And he went to shut the door, and as he got to the door, he was picked up and thrown 15 foot out into the yard.
And
but he did get up, dust himself off, and go back and shut the door.
That takes some nerve.
I'm saying, I mean, if I would have been there, would I have gotten up, went back, and shut the door? I can't answer that question. I mean, I would have. I don't know.
How do you protect yourself before an investigation?
Normally we would do like we have used the St. Michael's prayer. We all, and of course, Dusty is a Christian. We do say, prayers before, and usually we always say something afterwards, pertaining to not allowing the spirits to follow us home, stuff like that. Sometimes I forget, and he has to remind me because I'm all into the thing that's going on, and I'm not thinking about that. So, yeah, Dusty makes sure that we cover ourselves in that area.
Yes, because that is very important, because you don't know whether you are bringing something negative or positive with you, or whether you've brought forth something.
Now, Bill W. said that demons are as aggressive as their powers will allow, and that's true. There are some that are stronger than others. Now, one that can pick up a grown man and throw him 15 foot out in the yard, I would say he was among one of the stronger ones. But they do have different, amounts of what they can do.
Did he happen to say if anybody's energy was drained just beforehand, or if his was drained?
No, he didn't. But a lot of times a demon will go after the weakest person in the group. If you get a group of people in the presence of where there's a demonic energy, they're going to go after the weakest link. And that's the one that they're going to try to take over, and that's the one that they're going to use against the rest of you. So, it's he says there could have been a heart spirit that thrown the investigator. Okay, you're going to have to enlighten me because I've never heard of that.
Oh, he says a hearth.
I've been around this thing for a few years, and I've never heard of a heart spirit, so...
Yeah, he said hearth. He didn't...
Hearth.
I've never heard of a hearth spirit either.
Yeah, that's a new one to me. But anyway, he is right. They're going to go after the weakest link, and they're going to try to use that link against the rest of them. So, if you don't protect yourself, especially if you know you're going into a situation like that, if you don't protect yourself ahead of time, you're looking at, and then it also would depend on, as he said, the person's, their faith, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a weak faith, they're going to break through that. If you're strong enough in your faith, they're not going to mess with you that much. They're going to go after the one that is not. So,
Well, they're going to test your faith.
Will it test your faith?
No, that's what I said. They will test your faith to see if you are genuine.
I think they pretty much know who's the weaker link. And that's where they're going to go. If they know you have a strong faith, why are they going to try to bust through you when they can go to somebody that isn't?
This is true. That's like a street fight. The guy always goes after the weaker one to make himself look bigger and badder than the rest of the crew.
And he's right. If it's a location that they are fond of, so to speak, they are going to do whatever they can to get rid of you and anybody that's trying to endanger their claim of that particular area.
And they can also feed off of the energies of other entities in the surrounding vicinity, can they not?
I believe they would, yes. And it's the same thing. I believe it would be the same thing as far as entity goes. If an entity is sure of itself, I don't think they're going to mess with it that much. They're going to go after the entities that are, and I would say in a particular case, like someone who's just crossed over that doesn't know much about what's going on, they would be easy to control.
And how many homes have you visited where you've known right off the bat that something was there?
It depends. I walked into a house and immediately felt like something was there. I get like a pressure on the sides of my head, like somebody's put my head in a vice. The stronger the entity is, the more pressure on my head. So I can pretty much, and it doesn't happen every time, so I can't say, yeah, that's 100%, but there has been a few times when that has happened.
Okay, I have a question. Has it ever made you, like, physically ill to be in a place?
Nauseous, yes.
Yeah. Okay, what is it when you feel this kind of thing? What do you think it is?
It's just a strong entity. I don't think it's demonic. I think it's just you have entities that are stronger than others, and I think it's some of the ones that have been around for quite a while. They know more how to put that energy out there, and yeah, I think they'll make you sick.
Well, okay, I've heard that this, when it's a strong entity or whatever, it can actually mess with your blood pressure, your heart rate. Have you ever found anything like that?
What they do is they will try to enter your body, and when they do that, yeah, it's going to mess with you. Especially if they have a really strong energy, it's gonna like turn your normal body functions upside down.
Yes, because they're feeding off of you, more or less.
Yeah, and they will drain your energy, and they will make you nauseous. But now, having said all that, I have to also say that, in some cases it's not necessarily an entity, but the EMF fields that's in a certain location can make you nauseous. They can make you break out. They can, high EMF field can do a lot of stuff like that. And you'll hallucinate.
Explain EMF to those that don't know.
Electromagnetic fields. that you'll get from like faulty wiring, sometimes televisions, any kind of electrical appliance that is not plugged into a well insulated outlet or something, where the wiring is well insulated. There's also what they call a fear cage, which is where you may be in a small area that has wiring like all through it, and the wiring is putting off a lot of EMFs, and you're right smack in the middle.
I didn't know that. Okay, so thank you.
Yeah, and if you ever watch Ghost Hunters, you might have heard them mention that a time or two about a fear cage. But anyway, that is where you're surrounded by high EMFs, like on at least 3 sides, of the room you're in. And it can do a lot of things. It can make you dizzy, nauseous, make you break out, and make you hallucinate to where you'd swear somebody's watching you when there's nothing there. All kind of stuff like that.
Amazing.
And what percentage of the investigations you do have, say, something in it versus, say, it being the electrical wiring or something of that nature?
That is, an EMF sweep is something you automatically do when you enter a location to make sure that they don't have high EMFs coming from somewhere that could possibly influence them. Now, and you do that EMF sweep, and you say you have a room that doesn't show any high EMF anywhere, and they say, well, stuff's happening in this room, then you have to look for different answers. So, how many of them can I say? Well, one in particular where the people had an invisible 15-foot anaconda in their house.
Oh boy.
And they had 2 telephone poles outside of the back of their house, both with big transformers on them. And they had a drawer full of drugs that they showed Dusty. Yeah, I'd say there was a little something there besides paranormal. But,
wow.
Yeah.
Would you say, okay,
run into.
Roger, would you say that, the whole process, the investigation is more or less one of elimination? By process of elimination, you
Exactly.
narrow it down?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
That is what you're trying to do. You go into a situation to disprove a haunting. And if you do everything that you possibly can to disprove it and you still come up with stuff, then you know you have something.
And
if you eliminate everything else, like the EMF fields, any other possible thing that could be influencing people to think they have something going on, like when they talk about a door slamming, you're going to examine this door. You're going to make sure that it's not where there's any kind of draft. Because if you'll ever notice, you can have a door open, and you can open your front door, and the suction will pull that door and slam it shut.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can eliminate all that, and you still come up with stuff that you cannot answer, then you have something.
Now you may get my question. Jeez. What percentage of homes that you've investigated, see, it came to me, were the result of something within the home versus something within the home owner itself, like one of the occupants of the home, i.e. Ouija boards or some rituals or something that the tenants have done?
That's a good question. Actually, the house that we did the investigation in, where they claimed to have the invisible 15-foot snake, they had a Yeah. Dusty wrestled in the snake out the house for him. Had his convict ghost kill it for him, so he couldn't come back in. But that's another story. They had a group come in there who were Wiccan, and I have nothing against Wiccan, but these people were, how do I put this? We were in there for several hours, and we had maybe a couple of EVPs that weren't really that, scary. And they were claiming that there's all these dark, evil spirits around them all the time, and all this. But anyway, like when we were there, this one, supposed medium showed up. And we were trying to convince these people that what they had was like some high EMF from those transformers and stuff like that. And we didn't want to bring up, well, maybe if you cut back on some of these drugs you're taking, we didn't say that, but we were trying to convince them that, there was really nothing for them to be afraid of. Then in walks this person talking about, you got this big evil black mass that's in your house. It's following you outside. It's on the deck now. How do you, it's like you're trying to combat the fears of the people that you're there to help, and then you got to combat some idiot that's coming in there, getting them stirred up again.
Yeah, you got to block it.
God,
with the snake.
Those cases where you're like, should I have stayed home and let them go in there and tell them, oh, this black mass is following you everywhere? Maybe they're the one that brought the snake in. Who knows? Anyway, it's one of those cases where you kind of wish you would have thought about it and stayed home. But then again, as a team that is, not only into the paranormal to find evidence and prove what we already know, but also to help those who are having problems. Thanks, baby. You can't really just, you can't tell them, no, I'm not going to come and help you. Because that's not what we're there for. So, you take the good part with the bad part, I guess. And this person finally left, and I won't say that we really got them calmed back down, but we got them a little more calm than they were when she was there. And of course, we did a prayer for them and everything to, try to calm them down and everything, get them, to know that everything's okay.
Maybe you should have given them a Valium.
I'm sorry?
Maybe you should have given them a Valium, man.
Oh, I think they had plenty of that stuff in the drawer. So, Oxycontin and everything else, I think.
Can I get in there? We're going to just do our call letters here, and I just want you to know that everyone that is in this little forum tonight is able to do the call letters. Roger knows them very well. Big Bird knows them extremely well. And I don't know them at all. So you two,
hey,
why don't you take it away?
See, leaving it up to me, CJ Mars Radio Network at www.cj.
We are live on
Mars
Digital Broadcasting out of Youngstown, New York, folks.
There you have it. Good job, both of you. You gave the website and the call letters. Wow, you guys are great. I love you.
I know, eh? Not bad
Okay.
for the block.
Back to our conversation. Where were we?
Well, we were talking about snakes and drugs.
Yes. The possessions of houses versus possession via people in the house.
Now, you can have people who are haunted, and you can have a landmass that is haunted. So it may not be a person in the house that's haunted. It may be a entity that was on the land before the house was ever there.
But how many have you done of each? Which one is the more predominant? The possessed house or the house possessed via the people or occupants of said house?
Well, I haven't done a lot of the one where the people were possessed, but now you do have cases where a person has an attachment, and wherever they move, their house is going to be haunted because they still have the attachment. It just goes with them wherever they go. So you basically have to get rid of the attaching spirit in order to free them from living in a haunted house.
Okay, so
how wherever they go, it's going to be a haunted house.
How do you do that, Roger?
Me personally, I don't have the experience to do that. I would recommend, and most people will say, well, they're going to have a, you know what I'm talking about. It's not coming to me.
Exorcism?
Yes, there you go. Where, the priest has to come in and or a demonologist, whoever knows what to do in that situation.
Okay, another question. I, have knowledge that there is a lot of fraud in that field. Can you, bring us up to date? Tell us what if someone's looking for an exorcism, what they should be looking for and what they shouldn't?
What to look for?
I would recommend Bill Bean.
Oh, Bill Bean, yes. He's excellent.
I don't know a lot of priests that I would recommend. I haven't really talked to a lot of the different priests. And in a lot of cases, you won't even get a priest to come in and do a house cleansing or anything like that if you're not a member of the congregation. That's sad, but true.
Well, as you and I know, we've debunked a lot of these exorcists who have gotten their paper to become a reverend online and that kind of thing. Yes. And I think, it's probably good to warn people about that kind of thing because it happens all the time.
Yeah, you can get an online thing to be a demonologist. Whether you studied to be one or not, yes, you can get a paper that says you are one. You can get a paper that says you're an ordained minister. All that stuff is free and easy to get via the internet. Now, there are people who become preachers who have never set foot in a school. Do I believe God can call some people to preach? Yes, I do. But not every one of them that goes out there and gets an online ordained paper saying that they're an ordained minister is an actual person I would want to come in my house and do a blessing or anything. Also, if you ever contact a priest to come and bless your house or do a exorcism or anything like that, and the first thing out of their mouth is money, hang up. Because if the first thing out of their mouth is money, they're not for real.
No, definitely not into cleansing your home at all, into cleansing your pocket.
And I feel the same way about a paranormal team. If you call up a paranormal team and the first thing out of their mouth is, well, it's going to cost you such and such, hang up.
Do paranormal teams take donations? I mean,
yes, they do.
Okay, but they don't normally charge?
No. Any good paranormal team worth their weight is not going to charge.
I see.
Now, and if, like I said, that's the first thing you hear out of their mouth, hang up, call somebody else. Now, on our webpage, it's halfpastdead.weebly.com. If you go check it out, there is a donation thing there. But if you read at the bottom, it says, donate it to the Wounded Warriors Fund. They need it worse than we do.
That's really nice.
That is the difference between a team that does not want your money and a team that's out to get your money.
Well, that's an awesome idea. We commend you 100% there, Raj.
Y'all have to forgive me. I'm trying to eat and talk at the same time.
No,
They keep you on a tight schedule, don't they, Roger?
Well, I have to eat with my medications and stuff like that. And yes, if I don't take the medications, I'm liable to become a zombie. And no, I'm just kidding, y'all. But I have to take meds for my breathing and stuff like that. So I have to eat regular because I have to eat food with those.
Well, you go ahead and do that.
Oh, I'm good. I'm just still eating.
Roger, have you ever lived in a home that had any paranormal activity?
Yes, actually. More than one, but one comes to mind where we had and there's actually a video, and hello, Will and Melissa, Dead Creek Radio's here with us. Here we go talking to the meds again. No, different meds than they had, Bill. But anyway, I lost track of where I was going. You have to remind me what was the last thing I said.
We were talking about homes that you may have lived in that may have been possessed or have some type of...
We did one in Union City, which is next town over from me. And,
Roger?
Huh? Yes?
Are you there? Yes, he's talking.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing either one of you.
Okay.
Can people hear us in the chat?
Okay. Let's take a quick break, and we will have both these people call back in.
Okay.
And try it again. Okay, we'll be right back, people.
Okay. So I'll start at the beginning. Yeah, Roger and I were just talking about psychic fairs and different psychic mediums and who's the best and how do you tell who to go to and things like that. And I was just saying that I had gone to a psychic fair, and of course everyone there was asking me why I didn't have a table, and I didn't want to be rude, but I did want to say, because I'm not a thief, this is a gift. A gift comes free. But I was in a bar one evening, and a friend of mine had just gone to a psychic fair that was happening that weekend, and she had told the girl I was with at the bar that she had just gone to this psychic fair and had her palm read. So the next thing I know, this friend of mine is bringing this girl over for me to read her palm. And I said, well, why should I? She just spent $45 getting her palm read. Why should I read her again? Oh, well, I just want to show her how good you are. So, of course, I read her palm, but the difference between my reading and the reading at the psychic fair that she paid $45 for, the person at the psychic fair started here and now. So that anything that comes out of her mouth, nobody's going to, number one, A, listen to, B, pay attention to, or even take note of what they're saying, because it's not something that they can bank on. It's not like, well, you fell out of a tree when you were a kid, or you were molested, or whatever, something that clicks in that person's mind that says, hey, how the heck would they know that? But anyway, long story short, the girl was freaked out after my reading. And, of course, I didn't charge her anything. I didn't say, well, hey, now you owe me $50 because
Right.
my reading was better than hers, type of thing.
Now, see, if I had a booth set up for palm reading, and somebody, I would keep a can of red paint and a brush down beside my table. And when they said, I want my palm red, I'd say, well, put your $50 in the jar, and then I would get my paintbrush. When they stuck their hand out, I would paint it red for them. And it would be the same thing as what they're getting from these people.
Basically, yes. Now, I did go to one years ago, only to prove to myself, no, not prove, admit, I guess, is a better term. Admit to myself that I had something going on, and I either had to face up to it or keep ignoring it. So I went just to get acknowledgement that I wasn't crazy. I had this thing, and I've had it all my life, and it's time to now start dealing with it instead of hiding it in a closet. And the person I went to had Elvis Presley's picture on the table, and it was an old gypsy type looking woman. And my guide drew me to her immediately. And she basically told me that I should be standing where she is, and that I've built a wall around what I can do because it freaked me out so much as a kid. So I still have built a major wall around it, but I've now accepted it, and I only do things when I'm forced, if you know what I mean. But I've never once thought of even setting up a booth anywhere and charging anybody anything except for maybe donations.
That's what I was saying. If you put a jar on your table that says give what you can.
But when you're going to these psychic fairs and things like that, like I was saying to Roger, you've got to think that there's 400 people or more, depending on the size of the hall. And that's just the guests. That's not including the so-called psychic mediums that you have in the room as well. And there could be up to 50 or 60 of them. And each person has a different energy. And you walk over to that psychic and hand them your $75 or your $150. And you're assuming that you're going to get a reading that is just for you. But you're getting not only the 400 energies that are in the room, but you're also getting all the so-called psychic energies also. So how can anybody charge that much money when you don't even know if you're actually reading the person that's giving you the money or the guy coming through the door?
Or the 2 or 3 people standing next to the person that you're reading.
That's right. And to charge that much money is exuberant for a gift that the Creator gave you.
I believe strongly that, everybody has abilities. I think we were all created with different types of abilities, okay?
That's right.
but they were given to us to use to help people, not to make money from people.
That's right. That's right.
And if you, that's the same thing with our donation thing. You know, when we do investigations, we pay out of pocket for everything. Batteries for our equipment, gas to get to where we're going and back, everything. The equipment that we use, we paid for. We don't charge anybody anything because I don't believe that's what we're in this for. And, you know, you could do an investigation in a celebrity's house, you know, and they might be worth millions. But then again, tomorrow you may get a call to go into somebody's house that can't afford to buy you supper. So you know, well, you can't say, well, since these people are rich, I'm going to charge them $100. But since these people are poor, I'm not going to charge them anything. It don't work that way.
No.
You have to be equal to all walks of life. You know, you have to be equal to everybody.
That's right. Because you don't know what you're walking into with each home, and each home is totally different than the next.
Normally, when I get the things that come to me, which is not an everyday, all the time thing, but they do come to me, and I can be talking to somebody and start talking to stuff that I would normally not ever say. So I know it's not coming from me. But it's normally with somebody that I know personally. It's not like I wouldn't tell Joe Brown on the street something, because I would always harbor that idea if I'm wrong. You know, and it causes them harm. I couldn't live with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't do that. Now I have talked to people that I've known for quite a while on the internet, that I've known pretty well on the internet, not personally, but and if something comes to me, I'll tell them, hey, you know, I'm not going to tell you 100% that I'm positive about this, but this is what I'm seeing. You know, take it as you will.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I will tell them, look, you know, I can't promise you this is 100% accurate. This is just what's coming to me. If you follow everything I see and something bad happens, you know, I'm going to feel devastated, you know, because I caused somebody some harm, and I don't want to do that. Okay, everybody, I'm Roger Belt. I'm the co-founder of Half Past Dead Paranormal Investigations out of West Tennessee. We are a non-profit group. We don't charge for investigations. I'm also the host of Half Past Dead Paranormal Roundtable on the Paranormal King Radio Network on Monday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern. And Monday night we have Karen Vance Hammond with us. She's the author of Shoemark. She's a great paranormal author and just a big sweetheart. Everybody come and check her out. You'll love her.
And this is Big Bird. And thank you for joining us this evening for the Two-Faced Evening News with CJ and the Bird. And we hope to catch you back here next Saturday evening. And join us at 9 p.m.
Thank you so much, everybody, for showing up in the chat room and putting up with our technical difficulties tonight. Roger, you've been an angel. You're welcome here anytime. You know that. And Big Bird.
Thank you.
Big Bird, you are my partner, girlfriend.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, CJ.
And good night.
Stay in the street. You gotta love it.
Good night, kid.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.